Idiom, at a loss for words. To be at a loss for words means to be so shocked, surprised, or overwhelmed that you cannot think of anything to say. It's often used when someone is emotionally moved or utterly stunned. Examples from the tone and style of Face Off. When I saw my own face on his body, I was at a loss for words. That wasn't surgery. That was identity theft on a whole other level. You killed my son and wore my face like a mask. I'm not just angry, I'm at a loss for words. The first time I saw myself in the mirror with his eyes staring back, I froze, completely at a loss for words. How do you tell your wife you're not really her husband? I stood there at a loss for words while she begged for an explanation. The look he gave me, like he owned my life. I was so stunned, so blindsided. I was at a loss for words. I held the gun, pointed it at my own face, and couldn't speak. At a loss for what doesn't even begin to describe it. Synonyms: speechless, tongue-tied, dumbfounded, stunned into silence, struck dumb, flabbergasted. Idiom, barge in. Definition. To barge in means to suddenly and rudely enter a place, interrupting whatever is happening, without being invited or without warning. It usually implies a lack of respect for the situation or people involved, like someone crashing into a private moment. 6 character style examples inspired by the butterfly effect. You can't just barge in here every time you feel like it, Evan. This is my life too. When you barged in during that meeting, you wrecked everything I was trying to fix. I wish I'd had the guts to barge in and stop him before he ruined his life. Did you seriously just barge into my memory like that? No warning? No permission? She barged in shouting about fate and consequences. It scared everyone half to death. If you barge in one more time when I'm trying to change the past, I swear I'll cut you out. 6 synonyms: burst in, crash in, storm in, intrude, interrupt, invade.
Idiom, come back to bite you. This idiom means that a past action, often a bad decision, lie, or wrongdoing, will cause problems or negative consequences for someone later. It's like karma catching up with you, especially when you thought you had gotten away with something. Examples, inspired by Breaking Bad. You think no one saw you at the junkyard? That move's gonna come back to bite you. Lying to Hank about the second cell phone? Yeah, that definitely came back to bite Walt. I told Jesse to stay out of it, but he just couldn't help himself. Now it's all coming back to bite him. Cooking in that RV again? You know that's gonna come back to bite us big time. She thought laundering the money through the car wash was foolproof, but now the IRS is sniffing around. It's all coming back to bite her. Mike warned them, but did they listen? No. And now that silence is coming back to bite every last one of them. Synonyms: blow up in your face, reap what you sowed, pay the price, face the music, get your comeuppance, be hoist with your own petard.
Idiom, come to grips with. To come to grips with, something means to begin to accept or deal with a difficult situation, truth, or reality, often emotional or unsettling. It's used when someone must confront something challenging, whether it's fear, trauma, loss, or even just harsh facts. The expression suggests an internal struggle or process of adjustment. Examples from Jeepers Creepers 2 style dialogue. You think I've come to grips with what we saw in that cornfield? I haven't even closed my eyes since. The kid's still trying to come to grips with the fact that his brother got snatched right in front of him. We've got to come to grips with this nightmare before it tears us apart. You need to come to grips with the idea that no one's coming to save us. I thought I had come to grips with losing my dad until I saw that thing in the sky. Don't talk to me about courage. I haven't come to grips with what I did back on that bus. Synonyms: accept reality, face the truth, deal with it, confront the facts, adjust to, reckon with. Idiom, ever since. Ever since is used to indicate that something has been continuously true or happening from a specific point in the past up until now. It usually sets up a cause-effect feeling in storytelling, where a moment from the past triggered lasting changes, emotions, or actions. Examples inspired by face-off movie dialogue style. Ever since I put on his face, I haven't had a moment of peace. You've changed, man. Ever since your son died, you've been chasing ghosts. Ever since that day at the hospital, I knew something didn't add up. Ever since Castor Troy walked into my life, nothing's been the same. You've been distant ever since you took this assignment. What are you hiding? Ever since I saw those eyes, his eyes, I can't sleep without nightmares. Synonyms or equivalent expressions, from that moment on, starting back then, since that day, from then forward, ever after, from that point on.
Idiom, laced with. Definition, when something is laced with something else, it means it contains or is infused with a noticeable amount of another element, often something negative, dangerous, emotional, or intense. It's as if an invisible thread of the second thing runs through the first one. For example, a comment could be laced with sarcasm, or a scene could be laced with tension. Examples, spoken like Spider-Man movie characters. The whole city feels different tonight, like the air's laced with fear and nobody's saying a word. His speech sounded noble, but it was laced with hidden threats if you listened closely. That punch he threw at me was laced with years of anger. Believe me, I felt every ounce of it. The Green Goblin's laughter echoed through the streets, laced with madness that sent chills down my spine. Even his smile was laced with cruelty, like he enjoyed watching the chaos unfold. This isn't just a robbery, it's laced with something personal. He's after me, not the money. Synonyms, infused with, filled with, tainted by, embedded with, saturated with, loaded with.
Idiom, play off. Definition, play off can have a few meanings depending on the context, but generally it means to use something to your advantage, or to make two people or groups compete or oppose each other to gain a benefit. In sports, it can also refer to a final match to decide a winner. In conversations or dramas, it's often used when someone cleverly manipulates situations or tensions between people to achieve a goal. Examples, TV series Breaking Bad. He totally played off Gus and the cartel like a pro, made them suspicious of each other while he built his own empire. You can't just play off Skylar's fears every time you want her to back down. Jesse tried to play off the cops against each other, hoping they'd slip up and let him walk. Saul's whole game was to play off everyone's weaknesses without ever getting his hands dirty. If we play off their greed, they'll tear each other apart before they even think about us. Walter played off Mike's loyalty to Gus, knowing it would eventually push Mike to make a move. Synonyms, manipulate, exploit, pit against, take advantage of, leverage, capitalize on. Idiom, pump up, pump it up. Definition, to pump someone up means to increase their excitement, energy, confidence, or mental readiness, often before a performance, a confrontation, or a risky plan. In personal contexts, it can also mean to get hyped or psyched, often with music or motivational talk. Examples from a Breaking Bad style dialogue. Come on, Jesse, pump it up. This batch has to be our best if we're going to impress Fring. He pumped himself up with that Heisenberg swagger before walking into Tuco's place like a man possessed. Skylar tried to pump Walt up before his scan results came in, but he was already spiraling. You really think I need Saul to pump me up to deal with those cartel guys? I've been through worse. Mike didn't need words. The way he loaded that shotgun was all the pump up I needed. The kid blasted that ridiculous rap song to pump himself up before delivering, thought he was invincible. Synonyms, hype up, psych up, fire up, energize, boost morale, get in the zone. Idiom, rein in. To rein in means to control, limit, or restrain something, especially emotions, power, spending, or behavior. The phrase comes from horseback riding, where pulling the reins helps control the horse's speed or direction. In a broader sense, it's often used when someone is being excessive and needs to be brought under control, whether it's their anger, ambitions, or even public protests. Examples inspired by The Handmaid's Tale. You'd better rein in that rebellious attitude, or Aunt Lydia will make an example of you. Serena tried to rein in Fred's reckless plans, but he wouldn't listen. Commander Lawrence has been trying to rein in the council's harsher punishments, but they keep escalating. You think you can rein in Gilead by negotiating? That ship sailed a long time ago. She had to rein in her tears during the ceremony. Any show of emotion would be dangerous. They're tightening the rules again, trying to rein in any sign of disobedience. Synonyms: hold back, curb, restrain, pull back, keep in check, tame. Idiom: tipping point. The idiom tipping point refers to the critical moment when a situation changes dramatically, often irreversibly. It's like the exact point when pressure, tension, or change builds up so much that everything suddenly shifts, for better or worse. In stories, crises, or even battles, the tipping point is that turning moment when there's no going back. 6 examples as if spoken by characters in the movie. Predator, 1987. This jungle's a powder keg, and I'm telling you, we just hit the tipping point. When Hawkins disappeared, that was the tipping point for the whole team losing it. If we don't get to the extraction point soon, we're going to pass the tipping point and not make it out. You felt it too, right? The second Blaine went down, that was the tipping point. It was all under control until it started hunting us. That was the tipping point we didn't see coming. I knew we were past the tipping point when the traps didn't even slow it down. 6 synonyms for tipping point: breaking point, turning point, point of no return, critical point, climax, boiling point.
Turn up. Definition: in informal English, turn up usually means to appear or to be found, often unexpectedly or after being missing. In contexts like the last voyage of the Demeter, it would capture the eerie feeling of something or someone suddenly appearing when everyone is already on edge. Examples, in the style of characters from the last voyage of the Demeter. We scoured every inch of the hold, but nothing turned up except a foul smell that clung to our clothes. I kept praying the missing livestock would turn up, but by morning there wasn't a trace. He vanished before our very eyes, and no amount of searching turned him up again. If that cursed creature turns up tonight, none of us will live to see the sunrise. After hours of digging through crates, an old diary finally turned up under the rotting canvas. They say the sea will turn up what it takes, but I don't think it'll give him back. Synonyms: show up, appear, surface, emerge, come to light, be found.